Hello you guys, and welcome back to my channel. So this week we are diving into essentially how to always have photos of yourself to post on social media, to use in your brand, and my top tips on basically always having a great library of photos to pull from that you're able to post consistently without having to show up on camera every single day, because spoiler alert, I do not show up on camera every single day by any means, and yet I am still able to have, so many different photo options when it comes to posting images on my Instagram or using them across my brand. And so that's what we're going to talk about today, and really this concept of, how to get these photos and my top tips for all of that, because it's something you guys ask me about a lot. So let's go ahead and dive into it. We're first going to talk about some tips for, planning out your photo shoots. And so when it comes to, having photo shoots done, there's a few different options that you really have. And the first one is to hire a photographer. This is probably the most obvious, but you can do this either on a yearly basis by hiring a branding photographer and having like a full branding session where you're getting a ton of different outfits, a ton of different locations, and you're able to use those images across your brand and really throughout probably a good year's worth of content, which is really, really cool to have. And I actually did this really for the first time back in 2020 and had a friend, we set up an entire day. It was a good 4 to 5 hours of shooting. And that's where I really saw a taste of how incredible it is to have a branding session like this done. And so you can look up photographers in your area, see what branding photographers there are that matches your vibe and your style. That's what I really recommend doing once a year. If you are able to, if you're at a point in your brand where you're able to afford it, that is such a great investment. I did it again in 2021. I plan to do it again in 2022 because it allows you to have images that are current, that reflect you and your brand and what you do, and to give you a ton of variety to post if you plan it out right. So ideally with these sessions, you are, like the last one that I did was a good 6 to 7 hours of shooting. And we went to a location off-site. We did some of my home office. We had some of me in action working like YouTube and stuff. We also had some more lifestyle, and I did a ton of different outfits and planned all that out so that I had so many photos to post. And to this day, you'll still see those photos pop up on my Instagram feed, and nobody would know that they were taken almost a year ago, which is kind of crazy to think about. But honestly, it makes it such a great time and money investment if you are at that point, you're able to do that. The second and third option are kind of honestly in the same category, and that is to do them yourself. So if you're not at a point where you can hire a photographer for a branding session, you can also teach someone just to take some photos of you, whether that is with a DSLR or whether that is with your phone. You can start out really, really simple with this and have friends or family take those images for you. And I also have, lumped into this category is doing them yourself. So I actually have some videos on this channel. I have one on the behind the scenes of me taking self-portraits. So I will link that video below. And we also have a video all about tips for how to teach someone to take your photos of yourself. So we'll have both of those videos linked if you want to jump over and watch those after this video. But that can be another really great way too, because although the yearly branding session idea sounds really good, it can be nice to have updated photos throughout the year and to be able to, if you're working with certain brands or maybe your home office, the look of it changes or different things get added to your brand, you're able to get updated, fresh photos that you'll want to share on your social media. I also want to add in here another option that I personally have been absolutely loving doing for my brand lately is I also have a photographer that I have hired to do monthly photo shoots for me. And full transparency, she is a friend. I started my business as a photographer, and so she trusts me a lot with her images, and she allows me to edit them however I want to. So it totally depends. You might be able to find a photographer who, if you're familiar with how to edit, they might be able to shoot for you, especially if you're someone who works with a lot of brands and just needs updated photos consistently. Then you're able to have someone else shoot for you, and then you can edit the photos yourself in Lightroom or something like that. But This might not be the best route for a lot of you, and a lot of photographers won't offer this option necessarily to clients. So it really just depends on if you have a connection with them already or something like that. But that's just, I just want to throw that out there as another option. Or maybe instead of doing a big brand photo shoot every year, you could do one every quarter or monthly or something along those lines. So you have more fresh images, maybe fewer in a session, but you have more, they're more fresh and up to date every couple of months or so. So I just wanted to throw that in here because that's something that I've been doing in the past few months, and I have really, really enjoyed that. Just having, because I always come up with new ideas for new images that I want to photograph, and it also might depend on you and what do you enjoy? Do you enjoy getting in front of the camera and getting images of yourself? Or would you rather plan one big session a year so you don't even have to think about it the rest of the year, because it doesn't sound like the most exciting thing to you to do for your brand. Okay, so now we're gonna move into making the most of your photo shoot. So whenever, no matter if you've hired a brand photographer to take photos, no matter if you plan to set up a DSLR and take them with on a tripod with a timer, or maybe you're gonna give your phone over to your family or a family member or a friend to take some photos for you, which is totally fine to do, by the way. I actually have, posted a ton of images that were taken on my phone, and I have mobile presets in my shop. If you're curious on how I edit those, we'll be sure to link those below too if you want to snag those for yourself. It's how I get that light and airy look to my images. But as far as making the most of your photo shoot, another reason why I would recommend, setting up a photo shoot or scheduling a time or a day where you are focused on getting images for your brand is because ultimately it's going to save you time. And so when we're thinking about saving time in our brand and making the most and working smarter, not harder, one way we can do this is, schedule out a photo shoot where you only have to get your hair and makeup done once, and then making sure you're planning multiple outfits in multiple locations. So the reason why I say this, and because we're thinking about having content that we're always able to post and always able to share online, you're gonna have way more content to share for way longer if you are making the most out of the photo shoots that you have set up. And so for example, if you have only 2 outfits for a 4-hour photo shoot and you're doing a ton of variety in each outfit, but that's all that you're doing, it's gonna become pretty obvious when you post those images over the next 6 months, right? Because you only have 2 different outfits that you're showcasing. However, let's say that in that 4-hour photo shoot, you planned 10 different outfits. And a different outfit can even mean, you wear the same pair of jeans and you change your top 3 times just to get some variety in the way that you look. So it looks like, someone might have followed you around and gotten different angles and done different things with you throughout multiple different days. And so that's my number one tip when you are planning a photo shoot or planning to get photos done. Even think about how you can change out accessories, like add a hat or change out your jewelry, or maybe you have a bag or a purse that you want to add in. Think about things like that and what you can add in to really add variety. So, not only will the photographer or whoever's taking your images, even if it's your tripod and it's your cell timer, whoever it is, you're able to really get a good variety. So even if you if you post those images side by side for the next 3 months, you're probably not going to be able to tell at a glance, unless you're really digging for it, that those images might have been taken on the same day, right? And that's really one of my biggest secrets to always having something to post, whether it's those big branding sessions I do every year or whether it's those monthly content sessions. Even in the monthly shoots that I do every month, I'm making sure I'm getting at least 3 to 4 different outfits, changing my shirts, changing accessories. So it's not just one outfit that I'm in for an hour or two, and then I'm thinking about, okay, but what am I going to post for this month that gives me 2 or 3 posts before it becomes really obvious that I wore the same outfit, if that makes sense. So that's one of my biggest tips. Another thing that I want to include here under making the most of your photo shoot is to make sure you think ahead, okay? So what I mean by this is think about what you have coming up either in that month or that year that you might want images for, and you won't look back and regret not getting photos for that. So this can look like, if you have any collaborations coming up, maybe you want photos for that. Maybe there are specific things you want to incorporate into your brand more. Like, for example, I am obsessed with chai lattes, and so incorporating, me holding chai or drinking chai is a really good idea. So I have that on hand for me to post later. Or maybe I know that I'm launching a new course later in a couple of months and I might want images for that launch, right? Maybe I want to make sure I include do a photo where I'm throwing confetti and something fun like that, or jumping in the air, or on my laptop with like acting like I'm filming a course or something along those lines. Like, think ahead. What are the things that you might need images for down the road? I've even thought ahead in the sense of I actually have images for if I ever were to start a podcast. I have images of me like podcasting, which sounds really, really strange, but it's something that I've wanted to do for a while. And so I've wanted to have images on hand just in case I spontaneously decide, hey, let's start a podcast in like 2 weeks. I have photos that I can literally pull from and say and be like, hey, like I could use these in talking about my podcast or on a page, like a information page for my podcast. I don't have to plan a whole new photo shoot just to have those few images that took me 3 minutes to take during a shoot I already had planned. So think ahead on the kind of images that you might want to be able to make the most of it. Another way that you can make the most of it, and this goes more for if you're hiring a photographer, they should already know how to do this, but if you are having a friend or family take them, or if you're doing them yourself for something, you want to make sure you get a variety of different like backdrops, different poses, even like think about get some up close, get some far away, get some at different angles, and make sure that you're not just standing in the same spot for everything. Even something as simple as wearing like the same dress or the same outfit and getting, once you sitting down at your desk and then get one standing up in front of a wall, just to get like different variety without having to even change your outfit. So it's almost that same idea we talked about when it comes to outfits, but also think about in the sense of like the type of images you're creating in the sense, like where you're taking them, like the backdrop, the location, even the different angles, or whether you're getting some like up close images of like your face or, full body images where it's like a little bit wider. So think about how you can add variety in that way. If you're the one really executing the shoot, that can really help you to make the most of the photo shoot and take advantage of being dressed up and having, all of these outfits and everything like that. I also want to add in here a little bit about posing, because I know that can be something that can be really difficult for a lot of people, and it can take some time to get comfortable in front of the camera. But when it comes to coming up with poses and ideas for things you might want to do and planning all of this out, I probably should have added this in the planning section, but totally okay. Basically, creating a Pinterest board has been one of the best ways that I plan my photo shoots, especially when I'm doing those big branding photo shoots and planning out my outfits, the different like vibes I want, different poses I want, different types of images I want, accessories I want, even just like colors and things like that of the different outfits, or a location, like trying to figure out a location that's gonna match the vibe the best. And using Pinterest and creating a Pinterest board literally like has been so stinking helpful for me, and I would highly recommend doing that. So before, when you're planning out your photo shoot, when you have ideas for different things you might want to do, pin it to a Pinterest board. So you can use that for inspiration, whether it's, in planning your outfits beforehand, but especially with posing, can be really helpful to get, your creative juices flowing and thinking of different ideas for different poses you might want to do in front of the camera. And another tip I'll throw in here for posing is to find poses where you're always like moving and have movement, and try not to stay stagnant for too long. So for example, you can do some of you walking, of you shifting your weight back and forth, you looking side to side, playing with your hair. Think about different things like that you can do to add movement, because not only does it just help you give you variety, but it's going to help you to not feel as awkward in front of the camera, because movement in general, it just helps you to not feel awkward and for it to look more natural. All right, so the last portion of this, I want to talk a little bit about actually using your photos and how to make it, if we're doing these photo shoots where it's like, okay, like I'm only getting dressed up once a month and taking these images, and I got to make it look like I'm not just taking photos all on the same day, right? And make sure I'm like spacing things out a little bit. So some things that have helped me is, number one, mix it up when you are posting. So mix up between outfits, backgrounds, accessories, close up, far away. Mix it up quite a bit throughout your posting calendar, so that whenever you take a bird's eye view of it, you can't really tell that it was all maybe taken very close together on the same day, unless someone is going through and looking, which doesn't even matter at that point anyway, right? But you don't really want to be posting like the same outfit, like close up and sitting at the same location 4 days in a row, right? Like maybe, outfit 1 sitting at your desk, that's day 1. And then you have outfit 2 standing outside. And then you have outfit 1 again, but it's like a close-up photo of your face. And then on day 3, you have outfit 3 that was in a completely different location. And then you go back to outfit 2 again, where it's like a pulled back photo and you can't really tell if it's the same outfit kind of thing. And that can really help you to really make the, going back to making the most of your photo shoot, it can really help to be able to use those images. And what's the word I'm looking for? I feel like it's not optimized, but almost like optimizing, the time you spent taking those images and spacing them out and using them where it doesn't become super obvious to your audience that maybe they were taken on the same day. I think that's absolutely okay to do. It's okay to work smarter in that way and to, just like use the content that you have and not feel like you can't post the same outfit twice in your feed ever, right? When it comes to using your photos too, I just want to throw in here a little bit about editing. So when it comes to editing them, if you are either taking them yourself on your phone or with a DSLR or something like that, one thing that I do recommend when it comes to using your images is, number 1, if you hired a photographer, make sure that they match your brand and your style with their editing if they are editing them themselves. But 2, if you decide to use your own presets, make sure you choose presets that are going to help you get really close to that style that you want. Like who do you see creating images? What creators do you see in their images? And what style is really close to what you want? See if they have presets available. So I actually do have mobile presets available in my shop. If you do like a more like light, bright, and airy editing style, we'll be sure, again, we'll have a link to that down below if you want to check them out and see if they're gonna be a good fit for you. This is something that I do recommend having at least some sort of consistency to your images in the way that they're edited and visually, especially when we talk about, using them across your brand. You want people to be able to see an image and to generally think, oh, like that looks like a Stephanie Case photo, right? And to have a very similar look to it. Not that it has to be super exact all of the time, but in general, you want to just make sure you're having a consistent look to your images. I hope that was super helpful. If you have any other questions about getting content photos of yourself, if you would like to see me in action during a content photo shoot, or I guess the photographer in action and like how we're getting these photos, if you would like to see more about how I take photos myself with my DSLR or with my phone, be sure to let me know. I don't have a lot of videos on that on my channel right now, so if that's something that you guys are actually interested in, I can definitely make that happen sometime soon. And so yeah, I hope you guys like this video. And if you're not already, be sure to subscribe to my channel because we upload new videos every single Tuesday at noon Eastern Standard Time. So if you want to be up to date on all of the latest videos on how to grow your brand online confidently with content creation, be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye guys.